Hello everyone, I'm DonTheCrown here, and I want to talk about real quick some uniques that you may be vendoring in the past, but you might want to keep your eyes on for this particular league. Now some of these are going to be prophecy items, so there'll be prophecies that you might not normally pick up or just throw in the trash, and it's going to be kind of interesting. Now some of these are going to be better due to changes in mechanics, and some of these are going to be better because some other things got massively nerfed. And so the first one that I want to talk about is the oak. And the oak is a prophecy reward from Spring Leaf, which pretty much gives you more life regen. And the oak gives you 3% life regeneration per second, and then another 3% regeneration per second while on low life. Now, the important thing to know here is that low life has been changed, so it's now 50% of your life or lower, you're on low life, and there is a new skill called Petrified Blood, which makes it so that you can no longer regen, leech, life gain on hit above 50%. You can only life flask, right? And that is kind of interesting because that allows you to be on low life. And also this new skill makes it so that when you take a hit, 40% of that hit that you take is kind of delayed as a dot on yourself. And so it's going to be kind of interesting, but you're definitely going to want some regeneration if you're using this particular skill. The oak, I think, is pretty amazing, especially for early league. It can give you up to 150% maximum, 150 flat maximum life, and 6% of your full life globe per second. Now, the crazy thing about that is 6% of your full life globe. You're only using half of your life globe. So that's effectively 12% of your current health, your maximum health that you can recover per second. 12% a second from a shield that's also giving you 150 more life. I could see this being pretty popular. I could see this people working this into not just necessarily Righteous Fire builds or something, because I know some people have been talking about Righteous Fire. And there's some interesting mechanics that are going on with Righteous Fire that make it a little bit more popular this league, I think, in the past, namely life tap support. And if you haven't paid attention to life tap support, basically what it does is it gives you a buff that is or gives you the ability to spend your life as opposed to mana. So it's like old blood magic basically. And then when you spend enough life, depending on the level of the gem, you get the life tap buff. And the life tap buff makes it so that any supported gems supported by life tap do more damage, and you also get more effectiveness of your life flasks, or at least that's what GG has told us so far. And the interesting thing about this is you could put life tap on your Righteous Fire. You're not really spending life with a Righteous Fire. You're burning your life. But you could also put life tap level 1 on your Leap Slam, Shield Charge, Flame Dash, whatever move skill you prefer. And since it's at level 1, it's like 17 life that you have to spend. And you have life tap. So it's basically going to be up all of the time. And so it's kind of like some of the shenanigans that people have done with wanding in the past, with spell slinging in particular. And it's going to be kind of interesting to see if Righteous Fire has like a spot, especially because of this league is circular. I hear there's like a lot of circle memes going around right now. So expect to see some Righteous Fire builds out and about. Now the other item I'm kind of keep my eyes out for is Rise of the Phoenix. This is a very classic shield that a lot of people really love for Righteous Fire. It gives you maximum fire res, and then on low life gives you more fire res, gives you movement speed, and gives you cannot be ignited while in low life. People always love movement speed, and I think this could potentially make a comeback from being at least a 1C unique to maybe a couple of C unique. Who knows, maybe it'll be really popular again. The next unique that's dealing with low life is Lori's Lantern. And I actually think that this is going to be somewhat of a budget OP item. Lori's Lantern is a prismatic ring that gives you up to 20 all res, gives you up to 8% movement speed while you're on low life, can give you up to 25% chaos resistance while on low life, and enemies damage from enemies hitting you is unlucky while you're on low life. Now this is important because every hit you take while you're on low life with Petrified Blood is going to turn into a dot, and so you want that damage to be as small as possible, and this is going to help you deal with some one-shot mechanics. You're going to take more, like less damage basically from each hit that you take, and this is all the time while you're in low life. Now you could health flask above the low life, but you'll quickly burn down or get damaged down below it. So I could see Lori's Lantern being pretty popular, especially early league. So wouldn't it like really be surprised to hear that these are a few chaos for the first couple days of the league. Next up is Duresso's Courage. I personally wasn't really going to put this on the list, but I had a bunch of people saying that they were interested in this shield for their Gladiator build, and so this is going to give you 30% chance to block spell damage while on low life, and not necessarily Gladiators, but anybody who wants to actually stack block that isn't a Gladiator. Getting flat spell block is pretty nice, I think. And it also gives you a chance to block attack damage if you've blocked a spell, and chance to block spell damage if you've blocked an attack. It's just really going to make life a lot easier for stacking block early on in the league. And so normally I've been straight vendoring these and probably throwing it in the sales tab this league. Next up is Dreadbeak. I don't think this one's necessarily super duper crazy, but it does give you 100% increased damage when on low life. I could see some people maybe using this either as an attack build. I know there were people using this for Blade Flurry in the past, or potentially as some sort of like quasi stat stick. Next up, let's talk about Impulse's Broken Heart. Now, Impulse's Broken Heart is kind of interesting because it used to be the darling of the game. Pretty much everybody wanted Impulses. It was the way to go. It was the way to play the game. Almost every single build that could fit Impulses into it fit Impulses into it, and it's because shocked enemies you kill explode, dealing 5% of their life as lightning damage, which cannot shock. And this was just incredibly overwhelmingly popular, but this eventually fell to explodey chests with the Crusader mod. But the Crusader mod is no longer 100% anymore, so I can see Impulses really coming back, especially because Vessel of Vinctar now, which I probably should have included on this list, has a new variant that causes shocks to proliferate when you kill things, I believe, or just maybe when you just hit them. I don't remember what the actual wording is, but I think that's going to make this kind of popular again. You can also combine this with Storm's Gift, which means any, I believe, corpses that are shocked, they shock things that are around them, and allows you to kind of have that explodey chest type of feel to a build, which I think is going to be pretty popular. Kind of an honorable mention with that too is Obliteration Wands and Asenath's Gentle Touch. I think Asenath's Gentle Touch is going to be extremely popular, and mostly because it's a little bit difficult to get. It only comes from a Legion encounter at random. But basically what this does is you curse enemies with temporal chains on hit, and that's any hit, and has increased effect. And then non-aura curses you inflict are not removed from dying enemies. So when you kill an enemy, if it doesn't explode, it hits the ground and has temporal chains on it. And then enemies killed near corpses affected by your curses explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. And I think this is going to be pretty popular. Now, whether or not this is on the short list of uniques that drop everywhere now, kind of like Headhunter, or this is still stuck to Legion, I'm not really sure. We'll have to find out. But I could see Asenath's Gentle Touch being quite popular this league as people try to find a way to bridge that explodey gap in their builds. Because I'll tell you what, man, almost everybody asks about, hey, can you get explodey chest in this build? Can you get explodey chest in this build? And actually one of my favorite things about my Steel build is that we didn't rely on explodey chest at all. And in fact, it was kind of bad for the build. And so I probably won't have to field any more questions about getting explodey in there. Although crap, now that you've watched this video, you will come to my channel and ask me about explodey chest. Can't believe you do that to me. Anyways, the very last thing is Zoph's Nurture. Now, Zoph's Nurture is a unique bow that pretty much you upgrade Zoph's Inception, which drops from Zoph in his Breach, and then you have to use a blessing on it to upgrade it. This is very popular with Burning Arrow and some other builds like that. This is just a really solid bow. The issue that's going to make this more expensive is that blessings can now upgrade breach stones, whereas before breach stones can basically just, you had what you had and there's nothing you could do to upgrade them besides using it that fled. Now you can take a regular breach stone, hit it with a blessing, and it goes up one tier, hit it again, goes up another tier, hit it again, and eventually you just get a pure breach stone this way. And so blessings, where they used to just be throwaway garbage 1C trash, are now going to be worth money. And they're going to be worth basically like a fraction of whatever the difference is between the base stone and a pure stone. And I'll tell you what, man, pure stones are not going to be free. There are people that are going to want to hit level 100. It's a good way to get a lot of experience really quickly. And oh, by the way, pure stones also drop blessings, so it kind of starts paying for itself a little bit. Oh, and there's this thing called I don't know, was it the I don't know, the Uncharted Realms? Oh yeah, you're right. And these happen to give you a lot of Maven's Writ pieces. And I actually made a lot of money just spamming Breachstones last league and just farming the Maven's Writs on like 8 mod corrupteds and not Maven's Writs, but the invitation for the Breach guys. And yeah, I think you make a lot of money that way. This is some general tips for you guys to keep your eyes open for coming up in the Ultimatum League. I hope you have a wonderful league start. I'm going to be starting Steel Skills, as you probably know, but we'll see you in there. Have a good one.